I wish I came single. Would have had way more fun tonight. That's what my wife Emily said. Loud enough for everyone at the table to hear, including me. She laughed after it, trying to pass it off as a joke, but her friends' awkward smiles told me what I already knew. They'd heard the truth behind her words. It wasn't a joke. It was a confession disguised as one. I froze with my drink halfway to my lips. The glass trembled in my hand, tiny ripples forming at the surface. My chest burned, not with anger at first but humiliation. The kind that makes you want to disappear. We'd been married for 8 years. I trusted her so blindly that I thought cheating was something that happened to other people. But hearing that sentence, the way she said it so casually, felt like a curtain finally lifting on a play I didn't realize I'd been part of. 2 months before that party, I'd noticed small changes, subtle, almost forgettable things. She started dressing up more for her girls' nights. Her phone, once left on the kitchen counter, was suddenly face down, password locked, and always within reach. She said I was paranoid when I asked. "You need to trust me, Mark," she'd snapped, eyes cold. And I did trust her. I wanted to believe her so badly that I convinced myself I was being insecure. But that night at the party, her words cut through every lie I'd told myself. When she laughed about coming single, I caught something in her expression, a glint of freedom. The same kind of freedom I'd seen in her texts when I once accidentally seen a notification flash on her screen. "Can't wait to see you again, Red Heart." She'd snatched the phone before I could read who it was from. "Work friend," she'd said. "Don't be ridiculous." That night, the word ridiculous echoed in my head. The rest of the evening blurred. I played the polite husband, nodding, smiling, pretending her little performance hadn't gutted me. But inside I was planning. If she wanted to act single, I'd give her the freedom she craved, but on my terms. I excused myself early, saying I wasn't feeling well and headed home. While she stayed behind to help her friend clean up, I sat in our quiet living room, scrolling through her iCloud backup I'd managed to access weeks earlier. I hadn't looked before. I didn't want to. But that night I needed the truth. It didn't take long to find. Photos. Messages. A thread with a contact saved only as A. His face appeared in a few of the selfies she'd sent. Young, clean-shaven, wearing a security badge from the gym she'd recently joined. In one picture, they were at a hotel room, the same blue comforter we'd once picked for a weekend trip she claimed she took with the girls. "Miss you already," he'd written. "Wish I could have stayed longer," she'd replied. It was like being punched in slow motion. I sat there for hours scrolling through every message, every photo, every detail of a life she'd been living behind my back. By the time she came home slightly tipsy, humming some song from the party, I'd already printed everything, dates, texts, photos, tucked neatly into a folder. I didn't say a word that night. I kissed her forehead, told her I loved her, and went to bed. She never noticed the quiet shift in me after that. A week later, our friends invited us to another gathering. A fancy dinner party for someone's engagement. Emily insisted we go. "It'll be fun," she said. "We need this." So we went. She wore a red dress, the one I'd always loved, though now it just felt like armor she put on for someone else. She sparkled that night, charming everyone, laughing louder than usual, pretending we were the perfect couple. At one point, she placed her hand on my shoulder and whispered, "See? This is us again. Don't you feel it?" I smiled, but inside something cold and calm had settled. After dinner, while everyone was mingling, I tapped my glass lightly with a spoon. The room quieted. "I just want to thank everyone for being here," I began, standing beside Emily. She beamed, thinking I was about to say something sweet. "I especially want to thank my wife for showing me what real honesty looks like." There was a murmur of polite laughter. "Emily," I said, turning to her, "you once told me you wished you came to a party single so you could have more fun. I figured tonight you should have that chance." The confusion on her face was almost pitying, until I handed her the folder. I didn't say a word as she opened it. I just watched the color drain from her face, watched her hands tremble as she saw her own messages staring back at her in front of a dozen people who suddenly went silent. Her friend gasped. Someone whispered her name. She stammered something, an apology, an excuse, but I was already walking toward the door. "I'm setting you free," I said quietly. "Go have all the fun you want." I slept at a hotel that night. She called me 23 times. Texted even more. The messages shifted from denial to panic to guilt. Mark, please. I made a mistake. We can fix this. Don't throw everything away. But she already had. When I finally replied days later, it was only one sentence. You did this when you wished to be single. I filed for divorce the next morning. It's been 6 months now. The papers are signed. She moved to another city, I heard. Maybe she's still chasing that fun she thought she was missing. I've learned that betrayal doesn't just end when the relationship does. It lingers in the small silences, in the way you hesitate to trust laughter again, in the way you replay moments wondering how you didn't see it sooner. But it also teaches you something about yourself. That night at the party when she said those words, I could have screamed, caused a scene, or begged her to explain. Instead, I gave her exactly what she asked for: freedom. And sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destruction. It's indifference. Because nothing leaves a cheater more speechless than realizing the person they took for granted finally stopped caring.